Hi there, welcome back to my channel. Math is fun with Teacher Parts. I am Patience Emmanuel, your mathematics instructor. In today's class, we want to look at the topic simultaneous equation. Wow, very interesting topic it is. What is simultaneous equation? Simultaneous equation is a set of two or more algebraic equations containing two or more unknowns. So if it is a two simultaneous equation contains two unknown, if it is three simultaneous and so on, it contains the number of the equations or the number of the unknowns. This is an example of a simultaneous equation. Equation like x plus 2y equals minus 6 and maybe 2x plus or minus 3x, 3y equals to 2. This is what we call a simultaneous equation. You see two equation in one and then two unknowns, that's two variables, the x and the y. It is called simultaneous equation because we are actually solving for the value of these unknowns at the same time. That's why it is called a simultaneous equation. There are many methods used in solving simultaneous equation, but for the sake of this class, I'm going to streamline it to just two methods, which is the substitution method and the elimination method. We want to solve simultaneous equation using the substitution method. In this method, one of the variable or one of the unknown is made the subject of the equation, and then the subject of the equation is being substituted into the second equation, and we solve it till the end. For instance, if the question says solve this equation using substitution method, this is how you go about it. Solution: you arrange this equation and call equation 1 and 2. So x plus 2y equals 5, I call that equation 1. And then x plus 3y equals to 8, I call it equation 2. So like I said, look for one of the equation and make one of the variable the subject. So I want to, from equation 1, I want to make x, from equation 1, I want to make x the subject. From equation 1, I want to make x the subject of the. So from equation 1, I want to make x the subject of equation. I rewrite the equation 1. X plus 2y equals to 5. Making x the subject of this equation means whatever is standing with x should move to the other side of the equation. So we see a plus 2y standing here with x. We move it to this side of the equation. And for it to move, for a particular term to cross the equality sign, it has to change the sign it came with. So here I have plus 2y. If it moves to this side of the equation, it becomes minus 2y. Actually, what I mean is subtract 2y from both sides of the equation. So I will have x equal to 5 minus 2y. That is how to make x the subject of equation. I can decide to call this one equation 3 because I'll actually make use of it. We'll come back to it when we want to find the value of x. Okay, we said when you make one of it the subject of equation, use that value. Go to the second equation and substitute it. So we say at this point, substitute x equal to 5 minus 2y into equation 2. I made use of 1 initially, so I'm going to substitute this value into equation 2. What you actually do is rewrite what equation 2 is. From here, equation 2 is x plus 3y equals to 8. Substitution means wherever I see x, it should become 5 minus 2y. That is replacing x with the value it is at this point. So since x is here alone, here becomes 5 minus 2y plus, we continue with the rest of the terms in the equation, 3y equal to 8 plus 3y equals to 8. So we are going to collect like at this point, we are going to collect like terms. Numbers stay where numbers are, then letters stay where letters are. At this point, I've seen minus 2y plus 3y at this the left hand side of the equation, and then I have 8. This 5 here, this positive 5 has to go and meet another number, that's 8 here. And since it's positive, crossing the equality sign, it becomes minus 5. Okay, minus 2y plus 3y. Minus 2y plus 3y gives us y. That is, if I borrow 2 and I am given 3, I have to pay off my debts and I am just left with just 1. That's why minus 2y plus 3y gives me just y, equal to 8 minus 5 is 3. You see, we just got the value of y. Now that we've gotten the value of y, to get the value of x, do you remember there was an equation I called equation 3? Here is equation 3. So if I bring in the value for y, substitute it in this equation, I will have the value for x. So that's exactly what we are going to do at this point. Okay, to get the value for x, we say substitute y equals to 3 into equation 3 because we want to get the value for x and x is already subject here. That's why I'm bringing it here. I like to rewrite the equation I'm talking about. Equation 3 is x equal to 5 minus 2y. Remember the value for y we got was 3. So x equal to 5 minus 2 into, wherever I see y, I put 3. So this is x equal to 5 minus 3. 2 times 3 is 6. And x equal to 5 minus 6 will be a minus 1. 5 minus 6 is minus 1. So therefore, we conclude that we have x to be equal to minus 1 and y to be equals to 3. That is how simultaneous equation is solved using substitution method. Let's do one more example using substitution method. Okay, we go in 3, 2. This is the second example. We are asked to solve this equation using substitution method. So we go again the same way we did the first example. Arrange the equation calling 3x minus 2y equals to 7. That's become our equation 1. And x plus 2y equals to minus 3. That becomes our equation 2. Remember the steps, the procedure. Look at one of the equation and make one of the variable to be subject. I prefer looking at the one that the coefficient is actually not greater than 1. Like what I'm, all this is 3, this is minus 2, this is 7. So looking at equation 2, it makes it easy. It is easier for me to make x the subject at this point. But it is not a problem. You can make any variable the subject. At this point, let me make y the subject. So from equation 2, we have to make y the subject. So to make y the subject, remember I love to rewrite the equation I'm talking about. Equation 2 is x plus 2y equals to minus 3. To make y the subject, every other thing moves to the other side of the equation. So here is 2y equals to minus 3. X is moving to this side, it becomes minus x. Hope you're seeing. Y is still not subject at this point. For us to make y the subject, we have to divide both sides by 2. So if we divide both sides by 2, I will have y to be minus 3 minus x all over 2. That becomes our equation 3 because we'll refer back to it when we want to find the value of y. When you get equation 3, we said this one you've gotten as subject of the equation, substitute it into the other equation. So at this point we say substitute y equals to minus 3 minus x all over 2 into equation 1. Remember, we started with equation 2. Don't go back there. Choose the other equation. So like I always do, I rewrite my equation 1. Hope this space will be enough for me. Okay, let me bring it up here so that we can see. I rewrite the equation 1. My equation 1 is x plus 2y. We start our equation 1. X plus 2y, yes, equals to minus 3. Nope, that's actually our equation 2. Our equation 1 was 3x minus 2y equals to 7. Okay, that was our equation 1. So we want to substitute. Wherever I see y, I'm fixing the value that we have here. So this is 3x minus 2 into, since y is minus 3 minus x all over 2. You close it and then you still continue with the equation equal to 7. Look at this particular work here. 2 here takes care of the 2 we have here. When that is done, we will have 3x. This negative one that is left had to expand this equation. When this expand this bracket, we will have plus 3. That's negative 1 times negative 3 is plus 3. Negative 1 times negative x is plus x equal to 7. That's what we have. What we are seeing, 3x. This multiplies this to give us positive 3. This also multiplies this to give us a positive x. Okay, we go on from there. At this point, we collect like terms. I have 3x here and I have x here, positive. So I have 4x in total equal to, this is 7 and this is a positive 3. Crossing the inequality, I have negative 3. So our 4x is actually equal to 4. At this point, to make x the subject of formula, we say divide both sides by 4. And if both sides of this equation is divided by 4, you have your x to be equal to 4 over 4, which equals 1. So the value of x is 1. Okay, having gotten the value of x, we are going to substitute that value of x into this particular equation for us to get our value for y. Alright, for us to get the value for y, we say substitute this value you just got in x into equation 3. Can you still remember the equation 3? Okay, so we say substitute x equal to 1 into equation 3. I rewrite equation 3. Equation 3 was y equals to minus 3 minus x all over 2. That was the equation 3 we got. Okay, so to substitute means 1 will take the place of x here because at this point x is 1. We have minus 3 minus 1 all over 2. Minus 3 minus 1 is negative 4. You borrow 3, you go back and borrow 1, so you borrowed 4 altogether. So that's why it is negative 4 all over 2. And if you divide 4 by 2, you have 2. But if you divide a negative 4 by positive 2, you have a negative 2. So we've gotten that x is equal to 1 and y is equal to minus 2. If you want to be sure if the values you got for x and y's are correct, if you want to be sure the values are correct, use the values you just got, substitute into any of the equation and see if it actually gives you the other side. Okay, for instance, what do I mean? Our equation 1 was something like 3x minus 2y equals 7. And we've gotten x to be 1. So this is 3 into 1 minus 2 into, we've gotten y to be minus 2. Let's test and see if that will give us 7. Okay, this is 3 minus 2 times minus 2 is plus 4. So you see 7 equals 7. That means we are on the right track. Okay, today we are just looking at solving simultaneous equation using substitution method. In our next class, we will see how we're going to solve simultaneous equation using elimination method. Take notes. To solve simultaneous equation using substitution method, make one of the variable to be the subject of the equation. When that happens, you substitute the subject of equation into the other variable, into the other equation, and just keep solving maths till the end. See you in our next class.